guys. Good to see you. How are you? Hey, Tracy. Good to see you. See you. How are you? Hey, Chris, how you doing? I'll tell you what, don't we have a perfect day here? This is pretty unbelievable. Bear with me a second. All right. Wow. I mean, this is incredible for all of us to be out here and, quite frankly, to just focus on the beauty of Greenbrier County for a moment, right? As many of you know, Denise and I spend a lot of time here. And where's Denise? I don't. Where's she? Oh, there you go. Sometimes what's right in front of you, you don't see. I had a chance to talk to a lot of people with this, and we were able to really, I think, explain a lot of the many transformational projects that we're working on and the things we're doing to take on the toughest challenges facing the state. Uh, the fact is, I'm wildly optimistic about the future of West Virginia. I really am. But I think you have to always be honest with the people of the state when you're talking to them about where you start. And that's why I've always said, look, despite a lot of the good work that's been done over the years, we can all do better, right? Especially when you're ranked 50th in a lot of the rankings that matter. Whether that rankings involving educational attainment when we're not where we need to be, somewhere in the mid 40s, or workforce participation where we're dead last, or standard of living where we're battling back and forth with a lot of states. I know that there's a chance for West Virginia to soar and, quite frankly, take advantage of our incredible assets. And so when I came into office, I wanted to focus on things that will be transformational to help lift our state up, to improve that standard of living, to help improve the quality of life for all the people that live here, work here, that play here. I also wanted to make sure that we were going to be focusing on rewarding all the West Virginians who have been toiling for years in the businesses they've been working on and make sure that they're benefiting from a lot of the dollars that get spent. A lot of times people talk about spending 50, 100 million and at a company to lure them to come in. And of course, we want the jobs and we're very eager for every company to come here. But I think it's also important to never forget those who brought us to this point, the hardworking men and women, the businesses that are doing all of the good work. They deserve to benefit from the taxpayer investment, do they not? And so that means that we have to think a little bit differently in terms of how we're doing economic development. So long as our numbers are stuck at 45, 48, 50, we have to be thinking, what can we do to challenge ourselves to be better? And that means building on the successes of the past, but doing a lot more to grow. And that's certainly what I've been working to do as your governor the past 7 months. I know that in recent months, we've talked a lot about working on the fundamentals, the needle movers, the things that are going to help create the best business environment in the region for West Virginia. We've talked about the backyard brawl because it's critical to have competition with all the states that we this that we touch, and we've been very aggressive. We need to make sure everyone in America knows if you want red tape and government bureaucracy cut faster than any other place, you come to West Virginia. This is your home. And so we're excited to do that. We talked about investing in our people, workforce development. We have to focus more energies on improving the tools that we have, our workforce development site, the functionality of that program. Because at the end of the day, our success is dependent on our people. And so we're investing in that. We'll be reaching out and having some experts help from our website perspective, our marketing perspective, our functionality perspective. And I'm excited about what's going to come from that. But we also know that business cares deeply about a few things, speed being one of them. Speed to build. That's something that you've heard me talk about a lot. That means that instead of focusing on hey, maybe we have 50 or $100 million on something, go to a company and tell people we're going to have a regulatory system that moves lightning fast, faster than everyone else. Now, sure, there are going to be a lot of incentives and good systems in place. We know that, but we have to do everything to move fast. And that's what we're doing. And quite frankly, that's part of the reason why we're here today. A lot of what businesses want is they want to make sure that when they are coming to a state, they have sites that are ready to be activated, that can be put into place to bring business to bear right away. They want to make sure that when you have sites, you have access to water and sewer, right? That these are the basics in place, fiber, energy resources. So those are things we need to focus on. And as the governor of the state, I want to make sure that the locales and the counties get the benefit of that because you're on top of more of what's going on in your region than anyone else. So you're seeing more and more efforts underway, partnerships with the localities in order to try to make sure that we're taking advantage of all the incredible opportunities in front of us. So that's why it's exciting to be here today because a lot of times people are not used to focusing on site selection. They say, wow, that's not the most exciting topic you can cover for television. But the truth is, you need to do more of that. And remember, a lot of that just wasn't being done in the past. The basics, the fundamentals, the right investment in your infrastructure to make sure that you compete. I was talking with some people recently. I said, what I worry about, we're going to compete in the big deals when we have the pageantry and we get to make our pitch with the big companies. And we're going to do very well there. What I worry about is what happens to the 80% of the companies that start doing research about West Virginia and they're looking, and if they don't find what they're looking for online, or they see that the statistics are not what they were hoping for. We have to change that. That goes back to the fundamentals, making sure things are done right. So I'm thrilled to focus on those fundamentals, not just chase, accolades or beat our chest for one particular deal or another. We'll be aggressive and more successful than you've ever seen in any of these deals. I'm excited about that. But the fundamentals certainly matter, and that's why site selection is such an important part of it. So today, I'm very excited to announce 7 new site readiness grants, each worth $75,000. That's a total of over $500,000. And that's going to start to pave the way for a lot of the local communities to take advantage of these assets. Following up from there, we're going to be able to have good conversations on water and sewer and energy and broadband. And on the broadband point, we've been working closely with the Trump administration on our application that I believe will be successful. And at the end of the day, might result in over $1 billion in both combined broadband and wireless monies for our state. What a difference that makes for West Virginia. And that's an area where we've been behind historically. Now, we're third in the queue nationally because of the good work that's been done in the past and by our administration. And now we have to finish the job and make this happen. And it's an exciting thing to be here to talk about that. There'll be more opportunities to work together for things. So thank you. I'm announcing today is in Randolph County at the Randolph County Development Authority. I'll be heading back to Randolph County again soon. That's to support site readiness at the Randolph County Development District Industrial Park. Then we have another one in Mingo County, Mingo Development Authority, two $75,000 grants. One is going to support efforts for the Mingo County Air Transportation Park, and the other, a place I know well, is the Harless Industrial Park. Anyone who remembers Buck Harless know he was a big contributor to the community and had a chance to get to know him a little bit before he passed away a number of years ago. County, $25,000 business park, and also $75,000 for the Business Development Corporation of the Northern Panhandle, and that focuses on the Beach Bottom Industrial Park. One of the things you're going to see is that we're beginning to take advantage of those dollars that were set aside by the legislature. I want to thank the legislature for this from a number of years ago. Remember, you passed this years ago and it kind of sat. And then we've been working on it now to get those resources out. And that's important. And I want to thank them because it wouldn't be possible but for their work. That's a $5 million, and we're going through that, but we're doing it the right way. When you think of economic development, you think of return on investment. And you're going to see that the money that we're spending, I think, is designed to go a little bit further, to take advantage of our beat up at people and hope that it's going to. So I'm excited to be here and to really be strong in terms of having site selection as a true feature of how West Virginia is selling our goods. A lot of big working on right now. I mentioned site selection. I mentioned water, sewer. Mentioned having the best that we're going to have nationally. But we also are building on the really good work this year. I'm going to just highlight 3 points in particular. Number one, we had a bill we passed this year. We call it the Licensing Reciprocity Act. You know what that does? It means that people that want to come to work in West Virginia with an occupational license, they can come in and virtually immediately get to work. Since we passed that law and we've been messaging that law, a lot of the startups, the need for contractor licenses has gone up 8% year to year. Now, I'm not saying that we can't do more. I think that's just the beginning. I know I talked to different parts of West Virginia where people are starving for contractors. Anyone have that problem here in Greenbrier County? I think I see a lot of people shaking their heads. We have that challenge. We get more people coming in. We need to build our workforce. Workforce participation growth is critical. So we talked about licensing reciprocity. We talk about one-stop shopping, going to one person to get everything you need. We need to move not at the speed of business, faster than the speed of business. We need to move like lightning to attract people. That's West Virginia's strength. We're small, we're nimble, but we can be very successful. So one-stop shopping, the legislature passed that. Thank you, delegate. This guy's done good work. He's been a big ally of mine. I thank you. Appreciate you being here. And he's been a good friend for a very, very long time. And then, of course, we're also working to attract data centers to West Virginia, and we're getting really good reception about that fact. And I'm excited about the conversations we're having and the reaction and the commitments that we'll be able to start announcing in the upcoming weeks, months, and years ahead. You know, the fact is that's an area where we were at zero at the beginning of the year. Zero. Because there was really no focus on trying to take advantage of the intersection between energy and technology. There is now, and you're going to see some incredible things. And I'm just going to tease you for a moment. Imagine you have a data center with 1 gigabyte, just for a minute. And there are a lot of them thinking about that right now. That will bring in total revenue for the counties in the state, between $100 and $150 million. Think about that for a minute. 1 gig, that's not easy to do. That represents billions of dollars of investment. Could end up bringing 100 to 150 million in revenue. How's that broken down? Well, 50% is going to go into a fund for income tax reduction to overall make our climate more attractive. The significant amount is going to go for the originating county. That's big. And then other dollars are going to go for other counties across West Virginia. And then there'll be monies that are spent directly to help facilitate economic development, a pipeline, if you will, that we've never had before. That's incredible. And that's just the beginning. 1 gig is just the start. What happens when you get to 3? What happens when you get to 5 and 10 and more? Yesterday, I talked about having an energy platform in West Virginia that's going to grow our energy footprint from 16 gigawatts. We should be ambitious and grow to be 50. Now, it's going to take a lot of work. That's between now and 2050. But we know that we can do it because we're sitting on massive reserves of coal and natural gas, third highest level of reserves in the country. So we have a chance to do some incredible things and be one of the biggest states in terms of exporting electricity. That's how we have generational wealth for West Virginia, and we help West Virginia be that shining state in the mountains. So great to be here on a beautiful day. And whether you're in Greenbrier County, whether you're in Jefferson County, whether you're in Brooke County, whether you're in Cabell County, Clay County, all across West Virginia, we're going to try to work closely with the folks in your community to help protect existing West Virginia businesses to grow them, but also create that fertile environment for others to come in and learn what we all know, that wild and wonderful is the best place to be. So I'm thankful that we're all here today, and I'd love to hear some comments. Some folks, we're fortunate that Ruth Anna Beasley is here today. She's the executive director of the Greenbrier Valley Economic Development Corporation. I'd like to recognize her for some remarks. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Ruth Anna Beasley, and I'm the Executive Director for the Greenbrier Valley Economic Development Corporation. We're proud to be a regional economic development authority that not only represents Greenbrier County, but Pocahontas and Monroe. And we are honored that Governor Morrisey chose the Greenbrier Valley to make these important announcements for economic development. And we are over the moon to be one of the recipients. I'll try not to repeat a lot of what Governor Morrisey said, but I think when you're talking about fundamentals, it doesn't hurt to drive the point home. So if I'm talking to companies that are investing in West Virginia and the Greenbrier Valley, I could bring you to amazing places like this, right? I could talk to you about workforce, and I can talk to you about incentives, and I can talk to you about a number of things. But if I don't have a place for your business to land, that conversation is not going to go very far. So in economic development, the speed to market, it's not a buzzword. It's vital. Site readiness is vital to business attraction. And frankly, it's vital to business expansion. So if we aren't growing sites, we aren't growing jobs. And in a world where 80% of site locators are doing their work on their desktops, and they're not coming to set foot on your property, and they're not looking at your fantastic communities, product matters. And it's site readiness that keeps West Virginia communities, particularly rural ones like ours, competitive. So I too applaud the legislature for recognizing this and funding the program. And I give kudos to the Division of Economic Development for their leadership and probably a lot of hand-holding across the state, and to Governor Morrisey for carrying forth this opportunity that is so important for our communities. The readiness program and the process, it was transformational for us, not only for the funding, but also the process of evaluating sites and educating our communities and our utilities about what site readiness means and what questions we will be asking and why we need those answers. So even for sites that haven't yet been funded, but maybe they will one day, we have benefited from this process. So yesterday and today you've mentioned collaboration and partnerships. I couldn't agree more on how that is how West Virginia is going to move forward. Our local response team for the site that we are being funded right you pass on the way into Harts Run, our local response team is a testament to what rolling up your sleeves and working together can accomplish. So at the table, we had representatives not just from local and state economic development, but property owners, every single utility, water, sewer, gas, fiber, electric. We put everything together so that we understood what the site had and what its weaknesses are. And then we came up with a plan to address those gaps. So thank you to Harts Run LLC, Dinsmore, the City of White Sulphur, E.L. Robinson, First Energy, Mountaineer Gas for your partnership and the hours we spent at that table. I appreciate it. To the Greenbrier County Commission for recognizing that, and immediately supporting all the infrastructure needs that came out of those conversations. Thank you. All of you have made sure that we move this site, we move Greenbrier Valley, and we move the state forward. The saying goes that opportunity does not waste time on those that are unprepared. And I think I can speak for my colleagues and other EDA directors across the state when I say how excited we are to show what being prepared for investment looks like. And I am confident that the return on investment for the state of West Virginia will be worth it. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You got some color, buddy.
Well, thank you. I've been putting up hay for those of you who understand that. Thank you all for coming out, and thanks to the governor for his kind words, and also to the Economic Development Authority here that covers my county that I represent over in Monroe. What we're doing today is what's been going on in North Carolina and South Carolina for years, and they have been ahead of us for years. So now that we're on the bandwagon, now that we're in that loop, we can start to compete for those 20 and 30 job facilities that we can get in a place like Harts Run or White Sulphur or even Union, West Virginia. And I applaud the governor for that, and I appreciate my colleagues in the legislature for passing the legislation needed to further that. And again, thank you, Governor. I appreciate you very much.
Amen. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think we have most people that are following from afar on streaming today, and some people are over at the Business Summit. But we do have someone from the media here, a couple. I'd like to ask if there are any questions. You guys have any questions? Can you speak up a little bit? Yeah. Yeah. It's a great question. So first, one of the things that we're so excited about is our application that's going to be before the Trump administration, probably within the next week or so. And we've been working diligently on this over the last few months because I want to make sure that we're looking at every site that currently does not have broadband and we're trying to make it available. And that's what the process did. And so one thing you have to do is you have to stay on top of the speed in which technology works, and having a lot of fiber in place, in some cases satellite, is going to make a world of a difference. And remember, historically, West Nine to move to make sure it was ahead of the other states to be able to access this broadband money. And right now, from what we're hearing, we're the third state in the queue in terms of going to have our application reviewed. Now, that alone doesn't guarantee anything, but it shows that we've been working diligently. We've been pushing very hard. And I've had a number of meetings with the Trump administration, with Secretary Lutnick. I've talked to the president about this, and they know the importance of broadband and then wireless. We're going to have an opportunity later on top of the broadband piece to expand on wireless. And when you could do all that, that's another game changer in terms of making your overall regulatory climate stronger. When infrastructure has strength, that makes it a lot easier to bring businesses in to the area. So I'm a big believer in that. We've been working overtime on economic development issues, but that application that's going to go in, I believe, next week to the Trump administration, I think is going to represent another big step forward. So we're going to keep going, and I appreciate your question. Any other questions from the media? Okay. Well, listen, I want to say it's wonderful to be here. I'm so grateful for the folks that are joining with me today. See a lot of terrific and friendly faces in the audience. We're on the cusp of something pretty big. And we have a terrific team in place working and driving economic development. And these people know speed to build. Let's just keep saying that, speed to build. We're going to have that more than anyone else. So if you want that, West Virginia is the place for you. Thank you, and God bless.